Life is weirdly a lot harder than we've been told. And midlife? That's a whole other can of worms that I was completely unprepared for. What about you? But here's the good news. There are so many new skills and mindsets that we can learn to make even the toughest days a little bit better. You just haven't learned them. Welcome to Thrive with Kira, a smart and scary podcast for women in midlife that teaches the skills to get more joy and love in your life. Join me weekly as I teach science-based, smarty-farty topics and break them down into bite-sized lessons that you can apply to your life, all while sharing my own shit show life stories that you can learn from. I'll be talking regularly about getting more joy on a daily basis, thriving in midlife, yes, you can, figuring out menopause, healthy dating and relationships, building self-worth, body positivity and neutrality, growth mindset, adult friendships, and also just easy mindfulness. So we can stop just surviving and start learning how to thrive. Welcome to Thrive. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thrive. I'm Kira. How's everybody doing? I'm doing okay, and I'm just going to jump right in this week. I have no announcements except that my ass has been putting up videos for the Joy Journey, and if you're not watching them, please do. I think there is some really good, thoughtful, and interesting shit in there, but that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the Joy Journey, how it's going, what I'm learning, what I'm taking away from it, and just go a little deeper into a couple of the topics that I have been talking about this week. In case you missed the information and announcement last week and have missed my videos because you're not obsessed with me, why are you not obsessed with me yet? I don't get it. Okay, but if you have missed them, here's what's going on. I have decided for 30 days to A, get myself out of a little bit of a funk, and then B, hopefully inspire other people, do some demonstrating, teaching, giving some science background. I'm doing a positive psychology activity every single day and then sharing about it. And so far, so good. Besides the mind fuck of judging myself on these videos, because this is pretty new for me. It's been a learning curve for me, but I think it's good learning. And even though it's uncomfortable, I'm used to doing uncomfortable things. And in fact, when I stop doing uncomfortable things is when I become stuck and stagnant. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. And I want to talk about one of the places and spaces that I'm teaching from in the Joy Journey. And I already want to share one of the, I'll call it side effects of doing this journey, and also just sharing where I'm at and why I'm doing this journey. It's just been the really lovely, I don't want to say outpouring, there's no waterfall here, but beautiful trickle from people I care about, a lot of past clients, just reminding me of my role in their lives, of ways that I helped them and led them towards different goals and dreams on their journey. And it's just been, it's honestly been beautiful. I have not been crying much, guys. I have not been crying as much. And I'm crying right now because it's a beautiful happiness cry. Man, am I lucky to get to see the beautiful growth and changes of some of my former clients. And I just want to share, two of them have reached out in the last 24 hours, and I've heard from plenty more of them. But I just want to share this because it just ties into this joy journey and just why I'm doing this and why I do everything I do. My God, I'm not doing a joy journey just for me. I certainly wouldn't be making videos and going over to Substack every single day and writing, which I haven't written in years. I'm doing this because I know I'm not the only one out there who's stuck. One of my former clients reached out to me this morning and just reminded me of something I think that I just wanted to remind everybody else. I think when the world is suffering, and let's be honest, as you open your mind and as we look a little bit closer, a lot of the world is suffering a lot of the time. And it can be very easy to get trapped in the I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed. At the end of the day, I have food on my table every night. I have a beautiful two-bedroom apartment in a safe city with family and friends nearby and access to about anything that I would need. And when you start to look at how much we really do have, it can feel shitty and selfish to also want happiness, to also want joy. And she just reminded me in an email this morning so beautifully, oh, so perfectly, that even the most depressed, that even the poorest places in the world have dance, have songs, have games, have joy. That joy is the opposite of oppression, that joy shows everyone that whatever they're trying to do, they didn't win. The minute we stop looking for, finding, appreciating, acknowledging, or adding joy into our lives is truly the day or time that we've given up. I hear stories from people a lot, and certainly over the last 16 years, I have heard thousands of stories. Many of them gut wrenching, heartbreaking, not just childhood trauma, but breakups, that divorces. There are dreams that didn't happen. There are goals that we thought we would reach that we didn't. There's many reasons why we might be sludging through or dragging ourselves through every day. And as luckily my friends from around the globe love to remind me that when you have money and technology and all of these things, we think that we are better off than a lot of people. Yet, just a reminder, the States where I live continues to be low on the global happiness scale. I just looked it up and we're 23 or 24 this year. That's right. We have a lot of things. And in fact, I can guarantee that we consume and have access to more things than most of the world. Yeah, we're not happy. I have been to so many countries where they don't have the things that we have, even the foundational things that we have. Yet they have more joy in their days. I don't think we have this all figured out yet. But I think that this podcast and the series I'm doing are just really good reminders, not only to myself, to everybody else. Joy is how we take back our power. The best revenge is being happy. Joy is obtainable. I don't know if day in, day out happiness is, but many moments of joy are absolutely obtainable. And that is 100% what I'm finding. And so thank you to my former client for reminding me of that this morning. Not just confirming what I am reminding myself and learning. The second story is just fantastic and 100% leans into what I'm talking about today. And one of my clients reached out, first of all, shared that she recently got a tattoo with ... yet. So just what I was sharing, the power of yet, in my video just this last week in the Joy Journey. If you worked with me doing the OM or any of my more substantial programs, we talk a lot about the growth mindset and the base of positive psychology. We're constantly replacing, reframing our words to include yet. So the fact that she just got that as a tattoo is just beyond awesome and makes me go, I want one too. But here's what else she said. Today I gave my official resignation at my job because I accepted an offer for a junior designer role. I am writing my own story. And I said, of course, you should be so proud of yourself. That's amazing. And she said, I am. I feel I worked hard for this and it paid off. It feels really good to know that I'm never too old to chase a different dream. Who needed that? Who wants that reminder? That's one of the mind fucks about middle age, is sometimes we realize we're not happy but we just don't think we have the time or the energy or that society is really going to support us in that pivot. But if there's one thing I know, and particularly for my single people out there, is that you can make monumental changes in a short amount of time. One of the gifts of being single, and this is not for everybody, you might be a single parent, that's a different situation. But if you are single and child free, there is a good chance you up and move. You can go towards a new opportunity. We forget that. We see only the lack, we see only the scarcity. That's part of the mindset, that's part of the perspective that I'm going to be talking about in just a second. But tying this into the amazingness of Thrive, which by the way, is starting to fill with the most incredible women, the most incredible community. What I'm doing here is just confirming, putting your time, your attention, your thoughts, your actions towards what you want can create such an incredible result. Danny looked at me yesterday and he goes, "You're happier. I'm the one who sees you from the outside every day." Because I asked him sometimes, "What do you see?" Because I'm so in my day to day, I can't get that kind of overall that he can see. And I'm seeing it. And I know I haven't cried as much. I know I haven't gone to the depths of despair, which I can do in the past. So something's fucking working over here, and I'm pretty excited about it. So positive psychology is a pretty massive topic. It's got many elements to it. So I chose only 3 categories to work on during this time. And the 3 categories are number 1, mindfulness. So finding ways to be more present, finding ways to calm the mind, get a little bit more zen. The second one is connection, connecting more towards other people and reaching out more, seeing people more, feeling connection, not only with people I love, but also with strangers. And then number 3 is the growth mindset, is approaching life with a little bit more optimism and hope. And I want to talk about that today. When I heard the research and the science behind the growth mindset, I say this a lot on this podcast, but my mind was legitimately blown. It explained a lot about my own success, my own choices and where I was making them from, the intention I was making them from, and also why I wasn't succeeding. It also explained some of my motivation or why I was unmotivated or why I wasn't getting things done or procrastinating them for so hard and so long that I was on some level sabotaging myself. So I want to share this today because I think this is something that every single person should know about. I think that looking through this very simple lens can change your perspective. And if you change your perspective, you can change your life. I don't think the majority of people really get that. I think that due to knowing that most of our beliefs are created by the age of 7 in a very childlike brain, we start to see those beliefs as truths. And that's where thinking traps come in or cognitive biases come in, where we find things that confirm that or back up what we're thinking. But I cannot say this enough, and I would say it all day, every day, if I could. Your perspective or your mindset is changeable. It is 100% malleable. It can be shifted, not overnight, because I don't know why everybody thinks everything's supposed to happen in a couple of days, because it doesn't. But you can work on your mindset. It's hard to change truths. It is not hard to change perspectives. One of my activities that I created years ago and would make my one-on-one clients do, and they didn't like it very much, was come up with 50 truths. That was their homework for a week. Just 50 truths about yourself. And you could start off really easy, like, my eyes are blue. My hair is brown. You could start off with easy truths like, and truths have to be things you can prove. like scientifically prove. But what a lot of them noticed, very few people could ever finish it because as you dig in to these truths about yourself, you realize many of the things that you think about yourself are not truths. They are perspectives. They are ideas and beliefs that somehow got planted there, usually in our childhood by our parents who also have those same beliefs and fears and whatever it is. And we start to see the world through those beliefs. I like to say, because people mention rose colored glasses, you're seeing the world in a rosy and happy way. They say that a lot, like when you're falling in love or when you're in love, everything's rosy. And that's somewhat true. The chemical cocktail of attraction and shifts our perspective for a little while. It shifts back, unfortunately, but it shifts our perspective for a little while to rose colored glasses. But I also have to say that if you had a tougher childhood and have not done a ton of healing around it, maybe you even have, the mindset doesn't necessarily automatically come with the healing, but you may have shit colored glasses on. You think that everybody's shitty, that the world is out to get you, that most people are here to hurt you. And that's a perspective, not a truth. Now, there's a lot of different things we can talk about when it comes to mindsets or perspectives. We've got self-fulfilling prophecies. We've got limiting beliefs. We've got lots of different things. We've got cognitive biases and thinking traps. All of these things, by the way, I teach, and not only teach, but help you apply and practice. We're doing this in Thrive because we are changing you in Thrive. Now, all of those are important, but to me, the simplest and easiest mindset that we can add to our life, that if we actually add it, will make the biggest impact, is what I'm teaching today, and it's called the growth mindset. And this is not my work. I teach this work, I study, I research, but this is the work of an amazing woman called Dr. Carol Dweck. She wrote an incredible book called Mindset. Check that out. And I'm going to talk about it. So, mindset is every day we move through life with a set of beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world. And those set of beliefs, our assumptions, and our expectations you hold about yourself, your life, and the situations around you are your mindset. So, just a basic definition there. And your mindset influences how you think, how you feel, and how you behave in any given situation. So your mindset, which is your thoughts, your beliefs, expectations, is the lens that you perceive the world, as I mentioned. And these lenses affect how you live and the choices you make every day. So, giving you a little science behind it, all of this is actually happening in your brain. So a mindset is just the succession of thoughts that the mind automatically thinks. So the thing about your mindset and is your brain is trying to get too easy or too safe in almost all things that it does. It wants to go down the same neural pathways because it's easy. And the more you think something, the stronger that pathway gets. And the stronger the pathway gets, it's where your mind automatically goes. So your mindset is so strong, is so built in, unless you actively step back, usually with another human who can help you see it, because that's how strong our mindset is. We don't change it. We don't even notice it. We don't even see it unless we step back. That's how automatic it is in our brain. So if you're shaming yourself for maybe, let's say, a negative mindset, or what we're going to discuss today is the opposite of growth mindset is a fixed mindset. Don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace. Mindsets are usually created by the age of 7, and you're probably not even aware of it because it's such a built-in part of you, but you can work on it. So let's talk a little bit about where it comes from. And it's where almost all things come from. And it's not just our childhood, as in everybody's, of course it's our childhood. And I think that means that we're trying to point our fingers at our parents or our coaches or teachers or whatever. That's not what we're doing at all. What we are saying is that when we are children, we have a very different brain than we have as an adult. And we're in a very different place because as children, we are malleable. We are literally a sponge. And we are constantly watching, observing what the adults in our life do because they are the protectors of us. So you might have had parents who you thought were the bee's knees, and that's fantastic, and I'm super happy for you. But they still might have had some fucked up mindsets about the world. You might have had an idyllic childhood and still had something happen that shifted your mindset because that's just the human experience. You can't get out with the perfect childhood without anything traumatic ever happening to you. That's not what life is. But our mindsets are built by how we were raised as children and the things that happen to us throughout our lives. These thought processes drive our lives and bring about behaviors without our intentional involvement. I can't say this enough. If you are beating yourself up for your negative mindset, stop. It's happening automatically, but you can change it. But that means most of our mindsets and beliefs are completely unconscious. You are unaware of what you're doing and or why you're doing it. And that isn't helpful. It's ineffective when it comes to life, to friendships, to relationships, to jobs, to family. Anything that's automatic and we're not even aware that we're doing it or why we're doing it can be a problem. And your mindset is formed by a combined interaction of thoughts, corresponding emotions, and images. And the mindsets people adopt have everything to do with their judgment of anything. When you are constantly hearing and repeating stories about the way things are, the narrative gets daily reinforcement. And that daily reinforcement becomes the mindset cycle. Now, this is a basic thing. I will actually share my PDF, but I have a mindset cycle that you can download. It will be in the show notes, and it's very simple. But I want you to hear it, and I created this visual just because I'm a person who needs visuals. I can't just hear something and it makes sense to me. I need visuals. But what happens is, let's say that we're a child, and let's say that we don't say anything and we're just listening to the adults around us. It may not even be your parents or your grandparents. It could be your babysitter. It could be anybody. But what they're doing on a daily basis is they're talking about their beliefs. And we start to pick up on those beliefs about the world, about other people, about how the world works, about what you get, about what you deserve, about what your worth is. And those beliefs start to become our thoughts. And what we think becomes our words. And what we say starts to become our actions. And our actions become our habits. And the habits become our values. And the values become destiny. Or a self-fulfilling prophecy. Or results. Whatever word you like best there. But the point is that those beliefs that you maybe picked up accidentally as a child could be the very thing that is still driving your choices. And if you're never looking at it, you're not aware that this is possibly sabotaging or hurting you. Why does it matter? Your beliefs, your mindset play a pivotal role in what you want and whether you actually achieve it. Our mindset plays a significant role in determining achievement and success, period. And that's not me. That's backed up by Carol Dweck and her research. Mindsets can influence how people behave in a wide range of life situations because as they encounter different situations, their mind triggers a specific mindset that then directly impacts their behavior in that situation. And she said, I've seen so many people with this one consuming goal of proving themselves, whether it be in the classroom, in their careers, or in the relationship. And every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, their personality, or their character. Every situation they evaluate themselves. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? Will I feel like a winner or a loser? That's a hard place to live. But I think that this happens a lot. It's something I've had to work on for myself. When I find myself in new situations or I'm nervous, I find myself wanting to go to stories that make me look smarter or more important. I find myself instantly going to that place that's built on insecurity. And the person that I'm going to be when I'm feeling insecure is not a person that is open. It's not a person that is loving. It's not a person that is kind. It is a person that is guarded. It is a person that is scared. So let's meet the growth mindset. And in a lot of ways, that scared, insecure mindset is a fixed mindset. So let's talk about the fixed mindset. Now, in a fixed mindset, people believe that their qualities, their intelligence are fixed traits and therefore cannot change. What you are born with is what you got. These people document their intelligence and talents rather than working to develop and improve them. They also believe that talent alone leads to success and effort is not required. And I see this in so many places in life. Now I'm going to share a pretty vulnerable story, and it took me a long time to get to this place in my 40s before I realized this, and before I realized that the fixed mindset really fucked up a big part of my life. And so I'm going to share it so that you can hopefully learn from it. But one of the places that I had a very large fixed mindset is my singing. So, quick backstory, I have always loved to sing. Always. Like, I remember as a child, just that was the one part of church that I liked, is getting to stand up and sing. I was always in choirs from the time that I was very small. Choirs at school, community choirs, church choir, everything. And I was good at it. So, of course, there were a ton of people in my life who were confirming that for me. You have such a beautiful voice. I didn't know that a little voice of an angel could come out of a child that small. I loved that attention. I felt from a very young age that I would be a teacher. It's funny, I've become a teacher, but a different kind of teacher. But I always knew I wanted to be a music teacher. I wanted to teach kids about the beautiful gift of music, which, by the way, music still plays a major role in my life all day, every day. Now more on my headphones than out of my mouth. But singing was one of the main things that brought me joy, truly. And it was a major part of my life between all of the different choirs. And I then in high school started taking like private voice lessons. It was my sport. So I was a big fish in a small pond. I'm from a small high school. I had 120 people in my class. So I would say I was one of the better singers in my class or in the high school. I was able to get a bunch of the solos, although they were nerve-wracking to me. It was a way that I got to stand out. But this was my thing. This is what I loved. This is what I was good at. This is what I would get acknowledgement and attention for. I applied a lot of my worth to this. Freshman year of college, I go to Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, which is kind of known as a music school. It has a very big music program. I would say there's more people who are a part of the music program on campus than they are in any of the athletic programs. And within the first week of college, which I really loved overall, my experience at Luther, I got to meet my college best friend and roommate, and her name was Anne. And it turned out how awesome she was also a singer and going for music. Two peas in a pod. How incredible is that? That my roommate and this great person and new friend also loves the same thing that I love. And I don't remember the first time, but I remember the first times hearing her sing. And she was, and is still, phenomenal. Like, phenomenal. And by the time I got to choir tryouts, it turned out that there were a lot of phenomenal singers. That Anne was more the norm than not. Because this is a music school. And all of the big fish from small ponds were now there. And it took me virtually no time to get completely discouraged, absolutely frustrated, feel like shit, feel like I was never going to be as good as some of the women and just the singers around me. Being from a small town and not having classes in musical theory and just the other parts of music that I hadn't really learned, but some of the people coming from the Twin Cities or Chicago had actually learned in high school. So I felt behind. By the end of my freshman year, I had basically almost flunked out of music theory. I stopped showing up to my private voice lessons with an absolutely incredible music professor. Just stopped showing up. I didn't when we got to try out our sophomore year, we got to try out for like multiple choirs, not just the freshman year chorus. And I didn't make the main choir or like the top choir, which very few sophomores do, but my roommate did. And from that point on, I just gave up. I did make one of the choirs. Some people didn't, but it wasn't the choir I wanted, so I just stopped showing up. I sunk into, if not the first, one of the first, and by far one of the biggest depressions of my life. And it would take until approximately now, we're still working on it, to find a way to love singing in music without making it about how I feel about myself or my worth. Now, I don't know what you heard in that story, but let me clarify a couple of things. I 100% had a fixed mindset. Instead of doubling down and working harder, I gave up. I didn't want to hear any feedback because it would make me feel like all of the fears I had about not being good enough were true, even though the feedback would have gotten me to the next level. I stopped showing up. I stopped trying. I stopped doing something I loved when I wasn't the best in it, or it made me question if I was good at it. And I am still to this day, right now, finally toying with the idea of just joining a local community chorus just to be singing again for the pure joy of singing, which is what it was in the beginning. But here's what I now know. What would have happened? What would my life have been if instead of thinking, oh no, everybody else here is better than me, they're just naturally better, I'm not as good, so I'm just going to drop out, leave the program, stop trying? What would have happened if I would have said, all right, now I see what this really looks like. What if I double down? What if I start practicing on a daily basis instead of never practicing and then showing up embarrassed at my weekly music lessons? What if I would have worked on becoming better, developing my voice, looking into different kinds of musical options? What if I went after the joy versus getting taken down by the fear? The problem with the fixed mindset is it makes us believe that we're not worthy going after our goals and dreams, where the growth mindset says you can do anything with practice, with some hard work, and with not giving up. So that's just my story, but let me tell you about some of the other mindfuck parts of the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset looks at failure as the limit of my abilities instead of success as trying. The fixed mindset says I'm either good at it or I'm not. I regularly say I suck at math, I'm bad at math. That's not true. I have really never put that much time or energy into it. It didn't interest me that much. I never was that excited about advanced math. As kindly as I can say this about my high school teachers, I would not say they're inspirational about advanced math. No, they are long retired. But so many things are not what they are. They're where I put my time and my energy and my attention, which is exactly what this Joy Journey is showing me. The fixed mindset says my abilities are unchanging. That's totally untrue. The fixed mindset says I don't like to be challenged because it makes me question whether I'm smart or good at it. My fixed mindset says when I'm frustrated, I just give up. Who here, raise your hand in the air if you tried something once or twice and you're like, oh, that wasn't easy, or I wasn't great at it right away, so I'm out. What kind of life is that? The fixed mindset also says feedback and criticism are personal instead of possibly beneficial in how we grow. So that's the fixed mindset. And you can be completely a non-fixed mindset in some parts of your life and a fixed mindset in other parts of your life. So let's say at work, you have a really growth mindset and you love digging in and trying new things. But when it comes to something like dating, you're just like, nope, bad at it. The thing about the fixed mindset is it steals joy. I now know that singing and why I sang for so long is because it brought me joy in different things, whether that be my childlike brain, teachers, professors, whoever. I stopped making it about the joy of singing and the joy of just, I love being in a room in a choir with 8-part harmony. There is nothing more fulfilling in some level, satisfying in so many ways to me than all these people coming together. And it just gives me chills thinking about it. So if that mindset sucks, which it does, let's talk about the growth mindset. Alternatively, in a growth mindset, people have an underlying belief that their learning and intelligence can grow with time and experience. When we think about it, of course that's true. Of course we know that almost any person who is considered the GOAT in their, whether it be sport or field or whatever, have put a lot of time and practice and energy and mistakes and failures to get there. It's just scary. And so we love to just think that people are overnight successes or just got that because when people believe that they can become smarter, better, they realize that their effort has an effect on their success. So they put in extra time, which leads to then higher achievement and success. When you have the growth mindset, you say that failure and mistakes are an opportunity to grow, which is true. How do you become a better person unless we fail or make mistakes? How do you become better in relationships if we don't fail and have mistakes? You don't. The growth mindset says, I can learn to do anything I want. The challenges help me to grow. That my effort and my attitude and mindset determine my abilities. That feedback is constructive and helpful. That we can be inspired by the success of others. That we like to try new things, understanding that there's a good chance we're not going to be great at it right away. Now, I have to share something with you to tell you maybe how you got this mindset that I thought was super interesting. What I'm talking here about with positive psychology, remember, so much of this is new research and new science. Unless you are in your early 20s, maybe listening to this podcast, you probably do not have any of the benefits of this research. I certainly didn't. But that doesn't mean I can't learn and apply it now. So, how did we get the fixed mindset? So, when Carol Dweck did this research, she found that one of the most important ways our mindset develops in our childhood is from one word that starts with a P. And I've had over the year people guess this and they'll say parenting, which really good answer. But the word is going to surprise you, and it's praise. It was how we were praised as children that creates or helps create either a growth or fixed mindset. Now, clearly, none of our family members, none of our parents, none of them knew any of this stuff. But I want to read you about these series of experiments she did because it's really interesting and it just tells a lot. So in a landmark series of experiments, Dweck and her colleagues found that kids behaved very differently depending on the types of praise they received. They found that personal praise, or praising a children's talents, or labeling them such as smart, promotes a fixed mindset. It sends a message to the child that they either have an ability or they don't, and that there is nothing that they can do to change that fact. Process praise, on the other hand, emphasizes the effort a person puts in to accomplish a task. It implies that their success is due to the effort and the strategy they use, both of which they can control and improve over time. Do we see the difference there? And in one seminal study, Dweck and her colleagues offered 4-year-olds a choice. They could either redo an easy jigsaw puzzle or try a harder one. And even these young children, remember 4 years old, conform to the two characteristics of one of the two mindsets. Those with the fixed mentality stayed on the safe side, choosing the easier puzzle that would affirm their existing ability, articulating to the research their belief that smart kids don't make mistakes. Those with the growth mindset thought it was an odd choice to begin with, perplexed why anyone would want to do the same puzzle over and over if they aren't learning anything new. In other words, the fixed mindset kids wanted to make sure they succeeded in order to seem smart, whereas the growth mindset ones wanted to stretch themselves for their definition of success was about becoming smarter. Do we see it? So to 2x devastation, the most toxic byproduct of the fixed mindset turned out to be dishonesty. 40% of the ability praised kids who were told they were just smart or look how good you are at math would lie about their scores, inflating them to look more successful. She said, in the fixed mindset, imperfections are shameful, especially if you're talented, so they lied them away. What's so alarming is that we took ordinary children and made them into liars simply by telling them they were smart. I think that is fascinating and interesting as fuck. And in a study of 7th graders, those with a growth mindset responded to failing a test with studying harder for the next one. Those with a fixed mindset studied even less. Dweck explained that they would resign themselves to just not having the ability to do well, so they didn't see the point of studying more, and they were more likely to consider cheating. If you're convinced you can't do it your own, they reasoned they would find another way. This resonated and still resonates with me so deeply. How much I was raised or somehow believed that mistakes, failure, anything less than really good was horrible, unhelpful, and awful. When really, it's how we grow, it's how we evolve, it's how we learn. And just as I mentioned earlier, that ... yet, that's one of the easiest ways to apply the growth mindset. So when you say, I'm not good at math, you just add the word yet. It changes it. I'm not good at math yet. I'm not a great dancer yet. I'm not good on first dates yet. I'm not a great painter yet. Yes, we all have natural strengths, which some say are still some kind of confirmation from our upbringing. But what we do know is it doesn't really matter, because with hard work and grit, you can accomplish anything. You can go back to school, you can get that job you wanted, you can get that promotion, you can get the relationship. You can change your life with a growth mindset. It's hard to see on your own, though. That's exactly why I'm here. Now, what's some of the great, amazing benefits of a growth mindset? We're not as scared to try new things. We recover way more quickly from difficulties or mistakes. We're excited by a challenge. We build self-awareness. We're more motivated to try to finish new things. It builds confidence. And we're inspired by versus threatened by others' success. That's one of the places I've really seen it showing up in my life. Is now when I see even somebody doing exactly what I do, and they've brought out a new product or whatever it is, I'm like, good for you. I use it as inspiration of, wow, look what they're doing. I bet I can do something great too. Versus, oh my God, now I'm triggered and shut down. I'm going to just feel shitty about myself all day. That's the other thing about the fixed mindset. Compare and despair, my friend. And comparison is the thief of joy. I now see this simple mindset has stolen joy from me for years. I loved doing arts and crafts and creating when I was a kid. I was never that good at it. I didn't have amazing projects afterwards. All my pottery was a little bit slumped to the side, but I loved doing it. And I've also been learning how to bring more creativity and art into my life, not for what it creates in the end, but just the joy of creating. I think so many of us are unhappy because we've just stopped focusing on what's important, things that light us up, things that bring tons of joy into our day, people who bring us joy. What do you have a fixed mindset about? I would love to hear from you. Come over to my Substack, leave a comment, all of it, because this can be changed. Now, if you're feeling this, If you've listened to this podcast and said, holy shit, I know there are some gaping fixed mindset holes in my life. I know that I am looking at or going after or not going after this or that thing that I want because I'm scared. That's why you join Thrive. Can you imagine having me in your pocket for 9 months, giving you feedback, helpful thoughts, pep talks, scripts, pointing out the fixed mindset in a really kind way when it's showing up, so you start seeing how you are subtly sabotaging yourself and we can change it. You can't do this shit alone. Something I said to another client a couple weeks ago who was lamenting possibly having to go back to therapy or find a new therapist. And I said, I'm just so sorry that our world or society or culture or whatever has led you to believe that this is your journey alone, that your healing is by yourself and that you can even do it by yourself. This mindset can change your life if you can change it. If you're ready to have access to me for 9 months, if you're ready to be surrounded by an incredible community of women, the women in there so far are, I'm so excited. I can pee my pants. Let's jump on the phone this week about Thrive. Let's create a 9-month joy journey for you. And by the way, it'll be easier because I'm doing this by myself and you'll have me and a group of people to help you do it too. I keep hoping to come over here and inspire you because I know there are a small group of women who are ready for their lives to be changed by this program, who are ready for the kindness and the community to start going after those dreams that they wanted or figuring out what their new dreams are. I got you. All right, guys, that's it for today. If you're ready to change your life, change it with me. Let's do this. Let's fucking do this. I'm so excited. There is now a 10-part payment plan. Figure it out. Come talk to me. If you liked this, please subscribe. I don't always put things out weekly. Sometimes I put things out 3 times a week. Sometimes I'll have a week and a half to 2 weeks in between. So subscribe so you know exactly when things go live. Finally, if you really love it, please leave a review. Whether it's just some stars on Apple or Spotify, or really writing down what you are learning and loving about this podcast. I read every single one. They fucking make my day. You are the wind beneath my wings. And it helps get it out there. Because honestly, as much as I can say this, for as much feedback I get about this podcast, which is a lot, and most of it all very positive, except for the people who don't like my swearing and don't fucking care. Even if you never share this with another person, by you writing an anonymous review, that lets other people know this might be something that they want to check out. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. No more surviving. Let's thrive.